What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Grand Scheme. This is Gran here, smoking it down live this afternoon. Happy Labor Day to you if you celebrate that. D King, good to see you. Michael Hernandez, what's up? And Lego Lover. So just noticed there are some pictures that have been released of the new Alliance War map. I'm going to try to pull that up real quick before I do my thing here, if I can find it. Here we are. Nope, wrong one. There it is. Saw you in Sammy's stream. Yeah, that was kind of an impromptu thing last night. He asked me to hop on, so I did. And ended up staying for the whole thing. That was a lot of fun. Can I join your alliance? I need help. That's not my call, man. That's a pretty stiff regulations or qualifications to get in. You need a 5,500 prestige, and then you need to contact our leader, the B Manny. All right, so let me see if I can pull this up on the screen. I assume this is reliable. Alright, let me resize that.
To the B side.
All right. Hopefully you guys can see that. Hated God, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Looks like I need to adjust that a little bit more. Alex42, what's up, man? And Dragon, welcome to the stream. Just got wind of the layout for the new Alliance War map, so I'm trying to pull that up on the screen and size it correctly here so we can see it. I think that'll do. Alright, so here's the full map. Looks like a total of 9 paths. 3 in the middle, 3 on each side. But the way that they're connected is interesting. I assume that the red lines here are portals. That one doesn't show noting, only portals overlap. Yeah, I was just seeing that. Voluntaris, where did you get yours? The ones with the nodes. The noted information. Did you get that on Reddit?
Get down to the B side.
I do remember the real dragon, so you're not real anymore? Looks like a lot more work. Are the rewards better? No. No, the rewards are the same. Let me save this image. And then see if I can find the other one. Okay, yeah, I found it. This one here. Are they the same layout? I mean, they're the same nodes, right? If we put them, if we put the two pictures side by side, let me save this one now too. Seems like a lot of BS for same rewards, geared a lot towards pay-to-win wars. I guess it depends on skill. Yeah. I mean, wars on the top level could always have been pay-to-win if you didn't survive your lane. I guess there was some discouragement away from that as far as defender kills goes, but usually it's pretty even on defenders kills. It seems to me it's rarely come down to defender kills. Although it's enough of an impact that taking it away is a problem in my opinion. Okay, so that one, the one I have pulled up is not the correct one still. Alright, go back. Okay, I made you a moderator, Vol, so that you can post the link if I'm missing it. Oh, is it here? Sorry, my wife had something. Okay, gotcha. I found it. Let me download this one now. That one is really big. I'm just gonna have to keep resizing this thing. And every time I try to resize it on the OBS, it like kicks it out. Let's just do it this way. There we go. And let me take a few things off the screen here. Alright, so that one is the one you're talking about, I assume. Alright. Okay, so you're gonna start here. You can see my cursor, yeah. You're gonna start here on the middle left. And then you can portal to, so Voluntaris, the red are portals, and the purple are linked nodes, is that correct? Guy who made that map grabbed the noding info from the command overview vid. Yeah, I thought about doing that, but that was a lot of work, so props to whoever did this. Hey Graham, thank you for stopping by stream yesterday. Hey, good to see you, Kranos. Alright, so red, I take it, are portals, and purple are linked nodes. And so you're going to be able to go portal at least, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So how do you get to 4? Oh, okay, so there's a line from 3 to 4 and from 5 to 4. But it looks like there's a link from 3 to 4 and a link from 5 to 4. So you couldn't just go and clear 3 and then jump over to 4. You'd need to have someone clear the link on both sides before one or the other moved to 4. on that side. So that's clearly 3 lanes on the left side. And then the same thing for the second part here of the left side. All 3 of the people would have to jump either to node 21 or node 23, clear those 2 links, and then move to 22. And then same thing for the next section. Move to 27 or 29, clear the 2 links, and then one person move to 28. And then portal up here to the top right hand of this diagram. Which way is this path moving? Looks like both ways. So once you get to this third section on the top right, you can go to 43 or 48. So someone would need to go to 48, clear the link to 43, and then another person hits 43. Wish I could draw on my screen here. I wonder if I can do that. Screen sketch. There we go. Looks like the whole initial middle section can be skipped if necessary, or maybe not. It might be easier to view the movement on the prettier graphic. Yeah. I think so. I think you're right on this, because if I remember correctly, they said the middle section is the hardest, and so you could just do the outside and get to the boss, but you still have the mini boss. You still have the mini boss in the middle, so the middle section is the harder content. But it doesn't look like you can portal from an outside to a middle set. Well, I guess you can. You can. You can portal from 23 here, down to right here. And then you can portal from I don't see anywhere you can portal from the bottom to the middle. I don't see any red arrows going from the bottom to the middle. So that could be a problem. Prettier map shows it better. Okay, let me see if I can pull that one up. Okay, this one is the prettier map. Wish I had known about this before setting the stream up. It would have made things a little bit easier here. Saj007, welcome to the stream. Since there are more nodes, does that mean that more people join a defense group? No, it's still 10 per. Voluntaris, I just messaged you online. You want to jump on Skype with me? We could just discuss this in the stream. I think that would be more helpful than me trying to keep up with the chat. Let's see, how do I zoom? There we go, zoom. Alright, so this one shows the movement, the other one shows... Okay, So here on the left side, we've got all right, we're gonna try to get Voluntaris on here. Thanks, guys, for being patient. Hey, man. It's No Life. Thanks for the sub, man. All right, let me get the audio set up here. I'm going to turn off my background music. And then get Skype set up through the right output so that people can hear you. Actually, let me change that back, because if I do it that way, I won't be able to hear you. I should keep it the same in Skype. And then change it in OBS. Alright, try to say something now, see if they can hear you.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. This is Voluntaris.
Can you guys hear Voluntaris? If so, just let us know there.
Do you hear me?
I gotta send a new tweet out. Nobody's saying anything yet that they can hear you, so...
Alright. Audience, do you hear me? Aaron C. says good.
And his volume's good? That's usually the problem in trying to get somebody on... Alright, good, they can hear you. Alright, so which one do we want to look at? Like this white one here, I'm looking at the white one, and this one has the nodes, but you said the prettier one, the colored one, has clearer movement. But on the colored one, is the movement from the circle node to the triangle node?
Yep, that is
how
correct.
It's going?
I mean,
right.
at this point, it looks like the noted one, the only error I've come across, I'd have to look at the rest of it, but that one error from 16 over to 32 doesn't appear to be reflected within the noted one, which is extremely important, because then that means you can bypass that initial center area to get to the middle mini-boss.
So 16 to 32... On the white one, there's a node, or on the
white one, it's not reflecting that, whereas it is on the prettier one. And it would make more sense for it to be able to do that. If you can do it on the left, I would think you'd be able to do it on the right as well.
Okay, so from the circle node right after 16 to the node right before 32,
correct.
There is a portal to move from the right to the middle.
which it does not seem to be on the white one. But again, that guy was mainly focusing on all the noting.
Okay, and is that the only one that you've noticed that's different?
So far, I'd have to see if I haven't really tried to look to match them up. That's just the one that was apparent when we were talking about if we could skip the middle or not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like that other map better because you can see the node. So if that's the only difference, we'll just go back to this one, and then I will mark that on the screen here.
Sounds good. I'll also keep looking to see if I see any variances while we're talking.
All right, so I'm getting used to this new laptop where I can do the screen sketch, and every time I try to click on a different screen, it resizes. So here, I'm going to do a round circle here, or not a straight line because I don't want to obscure the node, or the link node. But so right after 16 to between 26 and 32, there is a portal. Maybe I should do that in purple. Purple.
And excuse the mechanical keyboard if you can hear it in the background.
Yeah,
when
no
I
problem.
type.
All right, so right there, this direction.
Or you can put it up to 32. So the 16 up to the 32. I'm just seeing the video now.
Okay, yeah, the other one, oh, I see. That node is right before 32. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go right up here. Right there. Okay. So you could skip, theoretically, you could skip the middle section, the first part of the middle section, and then just take the outside and then portal to 30 and 32. 30 and 32 and get the boss. But that means you won't be hitting 31. So is 31's not linking anything, is it? So you could skip that one too?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
All right. So I wonder what they're going to do. Have you read anything about tiers? Or is this going to change with reference to like Alliance War tiers like they do now?
Not that I've seen yet. I mean, I've seen some people bring that question up on the forums, but unfortunately no clear answers from Kabam as of yet.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if the links change in the tiers right now. It's been a long time since I've done anything other than 1 or 2, but I don't think the lower brackets don't have fewer links, do they?
In the past, they had a couple. Thorns wasn't on as many, but the other big differences on the lower tiers, from what I remember, is that it actually showed the classes, which we're now all going to see. But in Tier 1 up until now, we weren't able to, unless you had Discovery Masteries, which right now makes them sort of useless, and we'll see if Kabam has anything to say about that. From last I saw on the forums, they're looking into if there could be any compensation or anything for people who have spent on opening up those Discovery Masteries.
Right. Now, I never invested in those, so that's not a big deal for me, but you run like 2 or 3 of them, don't you?
Yep, Mutant, Science, and Mystic.
So what is that, 10 cores per?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so you might get a decent unit package back, maybe?
Maybe. Thankfully, most of that was earned over time, just
or
doing all the daily
loyalty
quests.
would be nice too, with the new boosts and stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's figure this map out. Got to untangle all these knots here. So we know so far that you can skip entirely. I'm going to change my color again to, let's see, something that's not on the screen. Let's just do, I guess, green. So far we can skip this center section, this first center section entirely if an alliance was inclined to do so. But they would have to hit this second center section. Otherwise they've got one of the 5 mini-bosses that they wouldn't be able to clear.
Indeed.
Okay. So the mini-bosses are 50, 53, 55, 54, 57. So they could theoretically, since they're portaling from 49, I'm going to clear some of this off so my screen doesn't get way too crowded. They can portal from 49 over here to 53, and from 44 to 54. So the only mini boss that they wouldn't be able to clear if they skip the middle entirely would be node 50. Is that how you're reading it?
Yes. So to get to 50, they have to go at least the second section of middle.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a good point. Let me look at the actual noting of that. So if one person went up there, okay. So yeah, you could actually only have one person go up the middle.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3. So is that 5 boss kill express? Maybe. Let's see what. Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Well, you need 3 on each side.
Okay. We definitely need 3 on the right. I don't think we need 3 on the left, because on the left, at least per the nodes, you have 3 and 5. You don't have to hit 4. Then 3 and 5, that's 2. Moving up, going up to 21 and 23, you don't have to hit 22. Or actually, no, let me take that back. 22. 22 nodes 19 and 34.
Right, but that's only the middle. So if they're not running the middle, the only middle nodes on the left-hand side are 4 and 22. And those link only the leftmost path of the middle section. And so you could run the lanes, I'm going to say lane 1 and 3, which are the inside and outside lane on the left side, and not mess with the middle at all, because they're not linked. They're not linked at all. They only linked the middle. They only link the middle nodes, 4, 22, and 28. So you could do 5, just 5, and go straight for the boss. 5 paths.
Pulling up my GIMP program so I can actually write on something on this map.
I see B Manny in the chat. Hey B Manny, you want to jump on the call too?
Yeah, we haven't heard his voice.
Yeah, I've heard his voice on his videos and his kids'
voice.
That's
right.
I love watching his videos because his kids. He lets his kids pop the crystals open.
Yeah, I do remember that. All right, so we have 1 and 2.
Saj 007. For Loki is B Manny. He is our fearless leader.
Indeed, and he does a very good job at it. So let's see. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and then where do they have to port from? Okay, those 2 would go up there. You'd have to determine who would port to the center and where. Well, they could just follow up the left or right side of other people who cleared it. Again, if we're trying to determine what's the most quickest boss kill express way possible.
Yeah. So the right side, you do have to hit the middle right on that little round section, that first part you have on the right side, because that nodes both the left and the right paths on the right side, or the bottom side.
Correct.
But you don't have to do the inside section of the bottom path or the right path. Nodes 1, 6, 9, and 15 only link the middle section.
Yep, so we've got
and same
30.
With 33, 40, and 44.
Yes, okay, and that goes to that one. All right, so you're right, it looks like it's only 2. You can skip 1, 6, 9, 15. You can skip 34, 41, 45, and still get to 54 mini-boss, 57 mini-boss, and then if someone's coming up to do the middle from that route, they could take the 16 to 32. Or, yeah, and that would still be denoted by 33, 40, 44.
Yeah. So, depending on how strong this mini-boss on node 50 is, then theoretically, you could clear to the boss with four attackers.
5. 4, 2 on each side for 53, 55, 54, 57, then the 5th for 50.
Right, but that 5th one's going to have a heck of a time getting to 50 if you skip the 2 on the outside, because those are all noted, right?
Oh, yeah, okay. I wasn't looking at how the mini-bosses note each other. How are they noted? This thing is not very clear. I get a bigger picture. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because 38 nodes 50 as well as 39 nodes 50. So there's 2. And again, that makes sense if they're trying to go similar to the old Alliance War six-man mini-boss, or six-man express kill. This would be similar, just of course a different map, obviously.
Yeah, right. Richie V, this is Voluntaris on the line.
Hey Richie, you should know me. I run our battle group.
Yep. Okay. So, but there are, and then I think we were in agreement in our line chat, right? There's 9 paths total. So if you have 9 people who can clear a path, then you could theoretically run Alliance War with 9, and then you've got a floater. And you've got, if each person takes one of these paths, then it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, not quite. You've got 3. On the left side, you've got 3 per path, and then 1, 2, 3. One person doing 3, one person doing, or 2 people doubling on the 3.
Give me just a second. Wife walked in the room. Alrighty, I'm back.
All right.
It definitely looks like 9 to clear 100%.
Right. So I'm trying to think of how many fights per line. Okay. So for line 1, you've got 3 fights at first. Well, for lines 1, 2, and 3, you've got 3 fights. And then when you get to the end of that section, you've got 1 line that's going to be doubled and 1 line that's single person. So you're looking at 6 fights for 1 person, and then 3 and a shared 3 for the other 2 people on the left-hand side.
Trying to think how that sounds similar to the past one, like for the outer lanes, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Yeah, most people doing 6 and then the mini boss.
Yep. And then the bottom line, you've got 4 and 4 on that first round part, and then the middle guy would take 3, and then 3, 3, and 3. So 7, 6 for the middle, 7 for the outside. And then of course you could switch. You know, one person could take the middle in the first section and then switch to an outside lane. So I think that's nice. I know I've heard a lot of negative comments about portals on this, but I do think that's actually a good idea. Say I'm running 1, 6, 9, and 15, and my champs are spent, and nodes 35, 42, and 46 are easier. Nodes 2, 8, 11, and 17 are easier, and so I get to the end of that and my champs are in good shape. So I could switch up to 33, 40, and 44, and the guy that was running 1, 6, 9, and 15 could swap down to 35, 42, and 46.
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage or a good thing from the update. So, on top of that, not just the difficulty, but depending on what tools you bring to Alliance War. You know, for me, in the old Alliance War, I'd normally handle my job to be the left mini boss, right, especially if it was a Spidey, because I was one of the few who could bring crossbones or a 550 crossbones to handle him. But if I brought him, then I'd have to take out from one of my other ones, like OG Vision to handle any type of all or nothing, and then Star-Lord I would normally bring just for pure damage output. So with this new map setup, gives me a lot more versatility in terms of, okay, I only have these champs. I can only bring 3 champs. I can only bring 3 tools. Normally, again, damage dealer and then 2 utility tools if necessary. So this will open up more opportunities for me to be more efficient instead of, because if I need to bring all utility, then I have to bring all 4 stars. Whereas I prefer to have my big damage dealers for the mini bosses and the boss, like 455 Star-Lord or 455 Captain Marvel, and that may give me a better opportunity or other players to do so.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's going to be something where, I mean, it's nice to know the layout here, but even knowing the layout, it's hard to, we can't really lay out a battle plan until we actually see what the debuffs look like on the nodes.
Definitely. Wish we would see those earlier, but it looks like we're gonna have to wait till either the day before or a day of.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if they gave us like an extra 24 hours for placement phase.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe put that on, open it up tomorrow and give us 48 hours for placement just to get accustomed to the map, because it's, I don't know about you, but when Alliance War first came out, I was in charge of my battle group, and so I had notepads out and writing out paths and writing out noted buffs and keeping track of who had what champion and trying to figure out who's going where and who's fighting what. And that takes a lot of time when you're just first getting started with this.
Oh yeah.
Once you've played this for a couple of months and you're aware of the nodes, you know who your teammates are and who they bring, you can move things around if necessary. But this is going to take a few times to run to get used to how this is functioning.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, even with just jumping into a new battle group and learning, just to learn each player's skills, how they work, what their pros and their strengths and weaknesses are. Just that can take a war or two to get a good idea and see if any adjustments need to be made. So with on top of that a whole change to the whole map and what the nodes are, it's definitely going to take some time to even feel it all out before it can be somewhat efficient.
Yeah.
But it looks like B Manny brought up a question in terms of the thoughts of, so with there being no defender kill points, which again I feel is not a very good move, but with that, since they're removing those but upping attacker kills, there was a theory or an idea brought up on the forums of, well, what if we didn't place any defenders or place the minimum amount of defenders, therefore removing your opponent's ability to get those extra attacker kill points, if that would open up the possibility if your alliance that didn't place the defenders went hardcore and went 100%, if that would make it a much easier win. Thus far, it does appear that Kabam has responded initially saying, while it does seem possible, it's unlikely, that it would be enough points due to the defender rating and diversity. I still think it's a possible thing, and it only, in my opinion, goes to show the bad idea of removing defender kills.
Right.
So, what are your thoughts on that, Gran?
I think when I first saw it, I dismissed it, and I thought, yeah, that's just dumb. It's not going to work. But I mean, when you think about it, if you're in a Tier 1 alliance, especially a top end Tier 1 alliance, you're gonna be pushing for 100% exploration, and so exploration is no longer a factor. Whether or not you kill the opponents or you don't kill the opponents, if you get 100% of exploration, you get all the points, because it doesn't matter how many times you die anymore to your opponent's team. So they can place defenders all over the map, as long as you're willing to spend the resources to clear it. If you don't place any defenders, or you can't actually place 0 defenders. If someone doesn't place defenders, they don't get to participate in that, right?
I think so. I think
they
you
don't
have
get the
to place
rewards.
I think you have to place at least one.
Yeah, you'd have to place, one per person. But if they, explored 100% and killed 5 people, or 5 opponents, defender rating doesn't matter anymore. Exploration's even because both teams have done 100%. But now you've got attacker rating increasing the points. So who gets more points on that? The team that killed 5 defenders, or the team that killed 30 defenders? Well, it's the team that killed 30. But the things that to consider are defender rating, which historically has not really been. There's been maybe one time I can think of that defender rating has made the difference for my team between a win and a loss. So it's not very common. So defender rating, and then what was that? Diversity. Yeah. Diversity. And so the question really is going to be how much. I think attacker kills will overtake defender rating difference. Well, no, I'll take that back, because what's the typical defender rating score right now? About 30,000 or something like that.
I thought it was only. Or hold on, I can get my press screenshots and take a look. Let's find out. And in chat, James is actually saying you can join the attack phase and not place any defenders. So I've never tried, so I'm not sure 100% if possible. Let's see. One of our past wars, defender is 906, anywhere from 800 to 960,000, or around that amount of points. So that is a big chunk of points. I'd have to check, because in the past Alliance War 1.0, points in terms of attack kills as well as exploration. The exploration was 450 points, whereas the attack kill was only 50. Now, again, they're saying they're upping it, but I don't know if that would be able to... I don't think that could overtake that defender rating.
Yeah. Well, you said 100,000 or something like that. Our last Alliance War was... We had 11,000. For defender rating. Or no, that's defender kills. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong one.
Yeah, so, lower.
Yeah, okay, so we had
900.
Right, but points-wise, it was 1,875 points.
Okay, yeah, you're right. My bad.
1,919 points for our opponent.
Okay, that was so the actual
about 2,000 points. Defender kills was 11,000 points for us, 9,000 points for the opponent. Attacker kills was 6,000 points for us, and 7,000 for our opponent. And so if you eliminate the defender kills from that scenario, you're taking 11,000 away from us, 9,000 away from them. So that's a 2,000 point difference that they're ahead of us there. And then the defender rating, you add back in another 2,000 points, probably 1,500 points. So that would be a 3,500 point advantage for our opponent. So you'd have to consider attacker kills would have to make up that 3,500 point difference plus whatever diversity is. And let's say diversity is 2,000 points. That's 5,500 points total for defender rating and for diversity. We made 6,000 points for attacker kills. So that's 6,000 points. Even though we are giving them an edge of, several thousand points, we're taking away almost 6,000 points for attacker kills. Actually, more than that because the amount's going up.
Mm-hmm.
So theoretically, it could work out that attacker kills outweighs the amount that you're going to be losing from the defender rating, depending on how heavily diversity is pointed.
I hope it does, because it's just going to show how silly it is to remove defender kill points, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think, you remember when we first started Alliance War, you setting up, I don't know if you guys ever did this, but we tried it a couple of times, because you could communicate with your opponent in the war chat, and so we'd set up 2-star or 3-star defense. Nice. And so, you have your opponent place a 4-star boss and everything else was a 2-star. And so nobody's spending any units, it just came down to how many times you died to the boss.
Wow.
And they put a halt on that very, very quickly.
When did Alliance War start? Because I didn't start playing this game till 1 year ago, last September.
I don't know the exact day, but it was about a year ago, just over a year ago, I think.
So right before I joined.
Yeah, probably. It was it was weird because instead of the nodes, the linked nodes going from inside lanes to outside lanes, they had them running parallel lanes, and it was very weird. So you could just advance on your lane as far as you could anywhere, but a person couldn't move up to your lane. So if you were running lane 8, you could run your entire lane. You just couldn't move up to lane 7 because it was linked by a previous node on lane 7.
Weird.
And so that was one of the first changes they made after a couple of times running Alliance War. They changed the nodes around, and then they removed the Alliance or the War chat so that people couldn't organize a 2-star defender. And they even had some name for it on Reddit. It was like the Marquis of Queensberry rules for boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody came up with the rules, the name of a set of rules for Alliance War combat.
Let's see, Richie V's asking if they'll end up being a list of defender diversity points, or will that show as you're placing them? It probably won't show until the end. Maybe they'll give a little more explanation to how it's going to be broken down when this is released, but if I had to say for now or answer that question now, I would think it's going to be similar to the defender rating. But again, we'll see in a couple days.
Yeah. Well, here's a question for you. How important is diversity when defender kills don't matter, and you know that our opponents, no matter who we put, are going to be pushing for maximum exploration anyway? Do we keep putting the more difficult defenders on and hope to force them to run out of items to use, or do we go for defender diversity and place the for the sake of argument, Groot, Spider-Gwen, and Colossus in my roster to get the diversity points, knowing that they're just going to walk through those defenders?
In higher tiers, it's probably going to be that diversity, as silly as that sounds, just because so many times they go for 100%. I mean, I don't know. It's just silly. Because that is the bottom line. If two alliances go 100% completely, maybe blow through a bunch of items to do so, that's what it's going to come down to, is diversity and the defender rating.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that's good game design. So.
Right. I definitely have my doubts. Richie V, yeah, B Manning is correct. It is not rarity points, and so you know, some guys, the first 100 or so that 100%ed Labyrinth got the Thanos. You know, so it's not like you place Kang, Thanos, Immortal Iron Fist, and Red Deadpool and you get the most points. It's unique champions, as in you don't have 10 players per battle group placing 5 of the same mystics. So you're going to run into, you know, 5 magics, 5 Dormammus, 5 Mordos in every battle group. So to maximize points, you would have 30 people each placing 5 defenders. So what is it, 150 defenders placed and 150 different defenders.
Which I don't know if there's 150 different champions.
There's not. No, not right now.
Now, one thing I was thinking about, to try to play devil's advocate, to be the point of view of Kabam where they're coming from, they may have just focused with the main goal being, or noticing like, okay, our customer base is saying they're getting so tired of all these mystics. It's mystic mania all the time. Our main goal is to have it so it's much less mystics, a more quote-unquote diverse type of defenders.
Right.
And it looks like the two ways they've gone about that is to try to create nodes that synergize with with defenders we don't normally see as much, in addition to remove those defender kill points in order to get it more focused on that diversity score. And therefore, the goal of having a more diverse amount of defenders is reached. I don't know if they've considered the large negatives, but from the point of view as that being the goal, I mean, it looks like that's the route they went in terms of these changes, with the goal of making it more diverse.
Yeah. Now, if I think it's a good call to change Alliance War. I mean, we've been playing this map for a long time, so I'd like to see the new map and the new layout and the new nodes. But if one of the primary motivations to do this is to make this something other than Mystic Wars because of Mystic Dispersion, that seems to me to be a rather lazy answer to a problem that can be solved rather easily in other ways.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah,
welcome, Omega Mutant. What's up, man? Shivam Bojnagarwala, I just butchered that, sorry man, says, by removing defender kills, it's probably now that the biggest spenders win. I hear that a lot. I'm not sure I agree with that. And here's why, because you still have an item use limit. And at least in Tier 1, in our Alliance War, we're going to use items to win if we need to, depending on what call you know, the officers make. So we have no problem using items to get exploration. And some wars we're just going to say, you know what, we're going to save our items this week, or this war we're not going to use them. And other wars we're going to say, no, we're going to get the exploration, we're going to use items. And that's always been the case. I think now there is just less. I don't know if there's even less deterrent for that, since there's no defender kills. I mean, what the defender kills basically did was to say, I know we're gonna die to this boss, you know, 20 times, and we've already died 20 times more than our opponent has, who has already beaten the boss, so no use giving them more kills. So in that scenario, the bigger spender is going to be the person who is behind on, who is behind on exploration. That doesn't guarantee them the win. It just means that they've got to spend more items to catch up. What do you think about that?
Well, I understand where he's coming from in terms of the bigger spender, from the point of view if both, let's say, For Loki goes, rocks it, does 100% without having to spend a bunch, then our opponents aren't having an easy time to get through some of our stuff, but then spend a ton to also get 100% with no negative repercussions. In that way, it is somewhat not endorsing, not emphasizing, inducing. I can't remember the word. It's making it so you can spend to win a bit more. There is no real negative consequence to spending as much other than losing your money.
Yeah.
And that's where it can be scary. On the other side, this isn't directly with that, but what I'm very curious to see what the nodes are. There's 5 mini bosses. That's, that could be a heck of a lot harder than it has been in the past to actually get that 100% exploration. And I'm curious if some of these nodes are really amped up. Hopefully, not that, I want to run against them, but I'm hoping it's not that easy to get 100% clear.
Right.
That people are more may want to then skip some of this stuff in order to leave some skill open to be able to then get through those harder stuff to beat our opponents. That's what makes Alliance more fun, going against a group of other people and doing our best to get there. And I would just hate it to come down to a spending war like I was describing earlier.
Yeah. And yeah, I understand that. I've just been in a number of situations where it's been a spending war anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it just, how many times have you seen the banter in the war chat, which people are just saying, "Hey, congrats on the win, money bags," something like that, because people are spending items as if that's not what you're supposed to do to win a game. But
yeah.
Sammy's in the chat. Hey, welcome, man. Congrats on your legend run last night, and thanks for having me on. It was my pleasure. I really enjoyed it. Sammy and I jumped in just to say hi, and he invited me in the chat, help him get his mastery set up, and ended up sticking around for the full 6. I think we were on for almost 6 hours total.
Nice.
But he finished in, what was it, Sammy? 4 hours, 49 minutes, something like that. So we had a lot of fun.
What damage dealer did he use?
He used magic.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, with full suicides, max recoil.
Nice.
So she actually did pretty well. 4 hours, 51 minutes, he says.
Not bad. I've heard this event's a little longer than some of the past ones.
Yeah, it was usually, they bounce back and forth, but they're typically 37 refills, I think it is, and this one was 39.
Mm-hmm.
So, quite a little bit longer. That would equal probably about 3 paths on a 3 energy noded map.
Cool.
But, let's see. Could have dropped the item use cap to make up for no defender kills. You run out of items, you're screwed.
That is a possible
No, I'm
solution.
happy for an energy cap or a item cap. I don't think I've ever used all 15 items, but I would hate to be in a situation where I actually did use 15 items and then kept using items to clear my path. That could get real ugly real quick.
Now, one interesting thing about they're saying they've made the map 150% bigger. Same amount of defenders, but there are more actual exploration nodes. But to compensate for that, they stated we've reduced the timer from 90 minutes to 60 minutes. While that's great and all, there's a little bit of a downside. It does mean you're going to have to be available more often to move because it is a larger expanse, because we're still capped out at 5 energy. I was curious if you had any. It's not going to impact me. I am able to walk away from my desk at work and move if necessary. But what are your thoughts on that, Gran?
Yeah, I don't know. I understand that they're making. They would have to make it a faster energy, I think, in order for it to work. But there are a lot of blank nodes now.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back and look at that the video. There's blank nodes on there. What's up, Cam? Yeah, it's Voluntaris on the line. I just threw his name up on the screen. So I think it's here on, if I remember correctly, when I watched that video, it was up here. I mean, yeah, you can see a few. So anytime you portal, that's energy.
Yep.
And then if you go up here to the left side or the top side by node 48, here's one energy here. Actually, I need to get the purple off of there so we can see this. Okay, here's one energy here to portal. Actually, let's go back one more. So from 27 to the portal, that's one energy. To move on that portal is one energy. And then there's a blank node, that's one energy. And then node 48. Okay, so to move from node 27 or 28 or 29 to node 48 is 4 energy. Now a little bit of that is alleviated because you've got 3 people there on 27, 28, and 29. And so you could have one take from 28 to the portal, one take from 29 to jump across the portal, and then double up on that outside lane, so you're hopscotching from the exit point on the portal to the blank node to 48. And so a little bit of that is alleviated there, but it's still 4 energy. So here's another question. When you travel a path that someone else has already traveled, it doesn't use any energy. Is that going to be true of portals? Because we've not had portals yet in Alliance team content.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how they would reflect that, but that is a very good point that I haven't seen. I'm actually pulling up the video to see if there's any more node information comparative to the maps. And it could just highlight, or maybe if it's highlighted before and after, hopefully it wouldn't cost any more energy, but that's another thing we're going to have to keep an eye out for when it starts.
Because you've got, everybody has, let's see, the minimum portals. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the left, 1, 2, 3 on the right, which is odd. A lot less energy spent on the right than on the left, it looks like to me. Well, you got fewer nodes between the portals on the left side, so the right side more nodes, fewer portals. And then the middle, you've got 1, 2, 3 portals. So three portals on the middle and the right, 5 portals on the left. Energy requirements. You've got the maximum lane on the right has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 to the boss. Now, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or so of those are shared, but a total of 15. On the left, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, depending on if you take that outside or inside path on the very last section. On the middle, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So it looks like an average of 15 energy per lane, with some energy shared. And maybe on the outside left, 18 energy, but that one lane is going to be doubled, so still an average of about 15. So if you're gaining energy every hour, I mean, you'd have a total of, you start with 3, I believe. 27 energy gained in an hour if you were actually going to take that long, if you were moving every hour. So you could theoretically maybe finish this in a 12-hour stint.
It's a lot more movement, man.
Yeah.
Just trying to think, because normally when I start, since I'm normally a floater for my battle group, so I direct when we start, but I hold back until the next day, and then I'll jump in to get some movement and gain enough energy to then finish off. Whereas with this, it seems like there's 3 different stages if you're hopping in rather than being around all the time, that you're going to need to do some movement instead of in the past it was more like 2 stages. Do you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Definitely interesting. I mean, maybe that will make it tougher for some alliances. I mean, scheduling-wise to 100%. I mean, not that I want it to be harder to 100% for us, but overall for the health of Alliance War without Defender kill points, I would think it would be beneficial for it to be tougher to 100% it.
Yeah. So if you're outlining an attack plan for your battle group, I mean, obviously, I would say don't give away too much information, but at this point it doesn't really matter because we don't have anything other than this map, right? But
yep.
If you're outlining an attack plan for your battle group, how would you attack this map? What would be your directives?
That's a good question.
As far as sending your attackers in.
I mean, you want your outside people first, obviously, and to jump right off the bat to clear off any nodes for the middle. If you're going to be sending, well, you also have to decide beforehand if you're going to be sending people up that initial middle area. But you can hold on that decision. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to hold on that decision until you have your outside people go and see what kind of caliber of defenders you're seeing. I mean, not that it's always a big indicator, but it's somewhat if you're running into a 455 on one of these initial nodes, which sometimes we would see on node 5 in the old Alliance War on that SP1 unblockable. But yeah, definitely outer ones to determine what the defenders look like, and then but then I mean you do need to make that decision if they're going to go middle or not soon due to the amount of energy needed to be spent. So
yeah. B Manny says, if you start on the outside, decide it's not needed to win, can you port to center?
The only areas you can port to center is the second part. The initial middle is before you had joined the chat. The initial middle can be fully skipped if necessary, if you want to attempt to do a boss kill express. Now I'm curious, and it may be able to be done, I'm just not looking at it yet. I'm curious if you can start a boss kill express type process, and then if you find that those initial 6 do not need much help, then can go back and do the rest of that middle. I think you would excuse me, if you're going to then want to go for the 100% after sending off your first 6, you would need 1 or 2 for those outer inner lanes to denode the first part of the middle and then go the middle. But back to answering B-Man's question, they would not be able to. Or no, hold on.
I'm marking on the screen. There are 3 points at which, according to this map, you can move from the outside to the inside. There's 2 points on the left and 1 point on the right that actually isn't marked on this map, but I've added the arrow.
That's weird. I wonder why they would have that 5 being able to, after 5 being able to port where before 13, but they don't have anything on the right side.
Yeah. Oops. I made that a purple. It should be a red.
I wonder if 13, 19, and 24 are much tougher than normal lanes or nodes. Let's see. So they could back them up, and those denode the center. But if you want to do the absolute center, you still have to do. Okay, no. It looks like there's that one from 1 to 14.
Well, that's purple here, though. That's a link.
Okay, you're right. My bad. Thank you. All right, but yeah, that's weird that they don't have any from the right side to the initial.
Yeah, I'm going to look at the chat here real quick. I haven't been paying much attention to it at all, so I apologize, guys. And every time I click on the chat, it like erases everything I've marked on my screen. So, B-Manny outside is needed regardless, says Cameron. Yeah.
No problem.
Ace Fusion, only 9 possible paths, so you're going to have a floater who can jump in there wherever. Yes, I will send this out on a tweet afterwards. Asif Ahmad, add me very good. Are you very good? If so, it's an honor to have you in the chat, man. This guy is top dog in Arena a lot, or at least like top 5. Cameron says, Voluntaris, the time constraints wouldn't allow for last-minute exploration. That's a very good point. It's very common now in Tier 1 for alliances to wait for the last 2 hours of Alliance War, or maybe the last 5 hours of Alliance War, and then just rush to the boss. I guess you can't do it in 2 hours, right? But you can do it in the last, how many hours would you say? I mean, you've got 1.5 hours per energy. You'd have 5, so you'd have a total of 7 if you waited until 3 hours before.
Yeah, and on top of that, you normally have a couple people who've scouted out the lanes, and you can back off their energy.
Yeah.
Or move off them.
And so
yeah,
you wouldn't be able to do that here.
Definitely would not be able to. I mean, I'm sure there'll be similar strategies. We'll just have to figure out the time frames of how late, the latest you can go, in order to then still push forward and get to the end.
Yeah. Cameron says the red one is there for sure. Are you talking about from 1 to 14? From node 1 to 14?
I think that's just a noting, 1 to 14.
B-Man, he says you have at least 1 on left and right to take out 50. Let me pull up my sketch thing again. 1 on the left and right to take out, let's see, 55. There's 55, there's 57. Right. Well, I mean, if you have 2 on the, you can run this with 2 on the left and 2 on the right. You don't have to do even the middle on the left and right paths, I think is what we established at first. So theoretically, you could run 2 on the left, 2 on the right, and hit 54, 53, or 53, 54, 55, 57. And then you just have this node 50 to deal with, which, I mean, if you just had someone who was willing to, bash through it and was an amazing player, depending on how horrible these nodes are, could run straight up the middle noded and hit 50, or just take the boss noded. But obviously that wouldn't be ideal. But it would be theoretically possible to just do 4 on the outside and clear out 4 of the mini-bosses.
Yep.
From 16 to 32, there is a portal. Yeah, I keep drawing it on there, but it's the problem is this screen drawing or whatever it is. Every time I click off of it, it disappears, and so I need to figure out either how to save it or so. From right here over to here, there is a portal. Let me see, where do I save it? Ah, there's the save button. It'll probably still close it though when I click off of it, and then I'd have to reopen it. Alright. Anything else in the chat? What do you guys think? Any questions? Anything that we're not thinking about? Super helpful stream, by the way. Zoned in. Hey, thanks, High Speed. Good to see you, man. We had a good time last night. High Speed and Eraser and I were on Sammy's stream last night for most of the night.
Sweet.
It's like 4 in the morning or so, and I'm like, dude, I gotta get to bed.
Yeah. I can't stay up that late these days.
I was not planning on it, but I've got a flight. I leave at 5 a.m. My flight leaves at 5 a.m. tomorrow, so I'm like, yeah, I'll stay up till 4. I'll be extremely tired all day today. Get to bed super early tonight. Get up at 3 a.m. and leave for the airport. So it might work out as long as I can get to sleep tonight.
And Cameron, I think when he's talking about bash through the middle, skipping the initial middle area, but bash through the secondary middle.
Yeah.
If you only had one person to bash through the secondary middle, node 50 mini boss would be noted by one of the two, by 38 or 39, depending on which route the one person went.
Right.
Optimally, you want at least 2 for the middle or for the secondary middle in order to fully denode 50 mini boss.
Yeah. So you can do. I mean, you cannot port to the middle. Well, I guess you could. Let's see. You could do this with 6.
Yep.
Okay, so here's how you would do it with 6. Let me get my green marker, and I will highlight the paths that you would take to do it with 6. So here's 1. You would take the outside around from 2 to 17, and then port over to 35 to 46, and then up to mini boss 57. Your second path would come down to the left or the right side, hit 1. I'm sorry, not 1. Let's take that off of there. 1 is linking the middle. Come down to 7, 10, 16, and then port up to 33, 40, 44, and then over to mini boss 54. That's path 2. And I know usually we count 1 as the far left or upper path, but I'm doing it backwards.
Right.
All right, so path 3 would be coming over to the left side and hitting node 5, node 23, node 29, up to node 43, and then around 47, 49, down to boss 53. Path 4 would be all the way to the left, node 3, 21, 27, up around 48, 51, 52, and then to mini boss 55. Okay, so now to get to mini boss 50, let me put my missing portal on here again. We have a portal moving from here to 36 to 32. Okay, so there's our missing portal. So in order to get to node 50, you can have a third person, a fifth person go either direction. Skip this middle section entirely at the beginning and then port from just after 23 down here to 30, 30, 36, 38, 50. Then your sixth person, if you add a sixth, it can come over here and port from 16 to 32 and then run 37, 39, 50.
Yep.
Okay, so you've got 6 paths. Theoretically, you can hit all 5 mini bosses and kill the boss with 6 attackers.
That's how I see it as well.
Who should I rank 5? Magic, rank 5, Magic 48, Scarlet Witch, or Ghost Rider? Oof.
What are you trying? If it's Alliance Quest, Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider, yeah. Yeah, Magic's still good, but...
Yeah. Magic's great for killing Hyperions in map 6, but Ghost Rider is great for... Well, he can do that too, if skilled enough, but he's amazing for both degen and Starburst. He gets me through most of map 6.
Yeah. I meant to save that one. I clicked on the other screen again and my drawing went away. I got to draw all that again because I need to save that. I want to save that one.
I'm not sure what Riley Lopez was referring to. No, you have to leave out the far bottom one, otherwise the middle's still noted. Not sure what he means by that, though.
No, those two middle, those middle nodes they're only linked by 29, 43, 47 on the top, which is going to be hit by lane 3, I called it. And by 33, 40, and 44 on the bottom.
Yep.
Okay, so, alright, so we're going to do, should we color code this? I don't know, let's say, I'm going to do it right this time. So, node 1 is going to be this light green, or lane 1. That's going to come up to 3, 22, 27, 48, 51, 52, and around to 55. Okay, so that's node 1, or lane 1. Let's do lane 2 is going to be... Gotta find colors that aren't being used here. Orange. Okay, lane 2 is gonna come to 5, 23, 29, 43, 47, 49, 53. Okay, that's lane 2. Lane 3, let's do yellow. That's going to go... Okay, we're skipping 169, right? So that's going to go 7, 10, 16, 33, 40, 44, 54 to the boss. Okay. And then let's do brown. That's going to be node 2, 8, 11, 17, 35, 42, 46, over to 57, and then the boss. Okay, so those are your main ones. Now what you have left here for the middle, if you want to do, let's call this lane 5. We're going to use this kind of teal, I think is what that color is. Lane 5, that's going to come to, let's go back up top to 5. And you might as well hit node 4, I guess, while you're up there. Let's undo that. You wouldn't have to, but let's do node 4, 23. Port to the middle. Node 30 is only linked by node 29, which got caught by lane 2. Node 36 is linked by 43, which is also cleared by, well, it's lane 1 or 2. Node 38 is linked by node 47, which is cleared by lane 2. So you're good. And then you would port to 50 mini-boss and on to the boss. And then path 6, I keep saying node, but path 6, what color have I not used here? Light blue color. Path 6, you could hit 6, 9, 15 if you wanted to. Let's just go ahead and mark that 1, 6, 9, 15, knowing that you don't have to. Okay, and then from there port over to node 32, which is linked by 33, cleared by lane 3. Then to 37 and 39, which are both cleared by lane 3, and then to 50 mini-boss and on to the boss. Okay, so there are your 6 paths that would be needed to clear all 5 mini-bosses. And let me save this before I click on something else. So what would we call that? Boss Kill Express.
Yep, 2.0. Or Boss Kill Express AW 2.0.
I don't know if I can put a point in a file name, but I'll just AW2. How about that? There we go.
That works.
Okay, so that's Boss Kill Express. You could do this with 6 attackers. All right. So have I missed anything else in the chat?
Just Cameron was adding on that there would be like 31 nose loss, very similar to the current Boss Kill Express for Alliance War 1.0.
Yeah. Okay, so the only other thing that I could think of right now to discuss is once we have these laid out with six attackers, how long would this take theoretically? How many hours would this take to be able to do this? If we start with 3 energy and we earn 1 per hour.
Let's find out.
And I think it would be the 18 because that lane 1 would be the longest path, I believe.
So 1, 2, 3.
So we have.
So 11 hours, 10 or 11 hours for that, for the bottom one, for brown.
Okay, so I just deleted the lane 1 on my map, but it's from here it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 moves. So 16 hours. 16 hours for lane 1.
So you have to jump in. I wonder if there's going to be importance to, like, let's say you have 2 players going that way, to switching off who does the transport first. Like order of transport, in order to maximize the efficiency of everyone being on the same amount of energy level.
Yeah. Camera says by that new one you'd be losing 26. That's around 70%. Longest lane is the far up, right? Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Not if you didn't 100% it. What is the minimum number of lanes that you would have to do to get the mini bosses down to be able to clear the boss? And looks like 6 is the minimum. Unless you wanted to try to take the center mini boss linked by 1 node, depending on how hard that link is, maybe you could do it with 5.
Big maybe, but it's possible.
Yeah, but if you were to do it, you'd want to take what I've called here 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's the inside right, the light blue path. So I called this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I actually didn't mark that that color. Let's do that. Okay, so path 6, you would want to take path 6 because path 5 on the middle section is linked by 2 nodes. 36 is linked by 37, 38 is linked by 39. Whereas on path 6, the only one linked by path 5 is node 39. According to this, if this map is correct.
Indeed. Camera saying feel that a higher energy cap would be very, very helpful, which I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Is there a list of node descriptions? No. This was taken apparently off of the video that Kabam released of the Alliance War map. So it sounds like someone just paused the video and then drew it out as they saw the section. So we've only actually seen, I think they showed 1 node. 1 node with the debuffs. And
yeah,
what was that? Power start 1.
It was an outgoing node, so it wasn't actually the local node, but 200% and 100% health. It's outgoing from 37 to 36. So plus 200% attack and health, plus 100% health, increase all power gain by 100%, and special 2 deals 20% more damage, can't be blocked. I think there was another one though. Yeah.
Now, I had a question about that because it says opponent. Opponent gains like 200% more power, but they suffer degeneration. Does that mean you get 200% more power and suffer degeneration?
No, I think that would be...
Or the node does.
The node does, and that's outgoing from 36, which has the same amount of 200%, 100%, but it has kinetic reactor, and as you were saying, flare. The opponent gains 300% attack, but degenerates 100% of their max health over 60 seconds. The strength of the degeneration is affected by class relationships. I still wonder...
So you get the power, or you get the attack, or whatever the bonus is.
I wonder if we
but
do...
But you take the degen. Because they wouldn't put degen on the defender node.
Yeah.
They wouldn't make the defender degenerate.
It's got to be on us. It doesn't make sense for the other way, like you're saying.
Yeah. And so, flare, that was in 5.1, right?
I think so, yeah. So rogue all the way. Rogue MVP.
Yeah. I'm going to pull that up. Let's see, 5.1. No, I'm not going to pull that up. I'm in the middle of a quest, and I don't want to back out.
If you have the video, I don't know if you could pull it up. I can give you the link. It's at 207.
Yeah, let me see.
Here's the link in chat.
Let me put my my YouTube screen back over here, in here.
I did see some people frustrated on the forum saying, so you're removing thorns, damage is normally unavoidable, but we have tools to deal with it. But adding degen, which there isn't many ways to deal other than healing champs or like rogue using that attack to steal. Ghost Rider possibly too.
I've not used him in Alliance War yet.
No, I have not either. He's more my AQ guy.
Yeah, I love him in Alliance Quest, but I've not done anything with Alliance War. Alright, so what's the timestamp, did you say?
207.
Alright, here's 206. Alright, so outgoing from 36 to 39.
Yep.
Is that what that is? All right, so we have, yeah, 200%, so 300% health, 200% attack, kinetic reactor, so they gain energy while they're striking, and then flare. Did they scroll that down? Yeah, okay, here we go, that is the bottom of it. Opponent gains 300%, so opponent is you. You are the opponent, so you gain 300% attack, but degenerates 100% of max health over 60 seconds. So you can't. So this, I love Flare. I really enjoyed Flare, and you're right. Rogue was my MVP for that, but it does mean you're not going to be able to play defensively. You can't bait out specials. You can't sit back and block. You're going to have to be very aggressive to finish this fight in the first 20 seconds. So that you're not taking a lot of damage. I mean, because I think even with Rogue, degenerating 100% in 60 seconds is a lot, and she's good, but I don't know that she can completely keep up with that if you are dragging this fight out beyond 30 seconds or 45 seconds.
All I can say for that node is Juggernaut, Juggernaut, Juggernaut.
Yeah, that was my next question. Who would you put on this node?
Jugs, 100%.
Yeah.
For a few reasons, because the kinetic reactor, he's always very good kinetic reactor, but with his unstoppable, like you were saying, you don't want to draw out the fight, that draws out the fight.
Yeah.
So,
what about Punisher?
Maybe. Yeah.
A high signature level Punisher, I would say.
That could work, as well as the kinetic reactor. You normally have to block parts of his specials. Normally, OG Daredevil would be a good response to that, though.
Well, no, I'm talking about his Outlast.
Yeah, his Outlast too, obviously. I tend not to like to rely on that too much, just because it is a bit iffy. I mean, I haven't really looked into what the percentage is on 99. I did want to jump in though, because I did find there's a couple other nodes. Starting at 148, it shows node 48 node, which increases all power gain by 50% and debuff effects last 100% longer. And
yeah, that's on the easy lane, right? That's not really a big deal.
Yeah, and then 43 just increases bleed duration and bleed abilities more effectiveness.
So it's not actually a bleed node. You don't necessarily need a bleed immune champion.
Correct.
Just you would want to put a bleeder on there for defense.
Yep.
And
Yondu.
Yeah. Right. Okay. What if King Groot, my nemesis? Yeah. I was thinking Ant-Man. Have we found a new home for Ant-Man? How would he be on that flare?
I'm sure he'd be great.
High signature.
High signature 345 Ant-Man. I mean, I've run into them on Starburst, and he can be such a pain because you can't crit, or you can barely crit.
Right. And 50% less damage on those glances.
Yep. So you're going to be sitting there.
And no abilities triggered. So
yep.
You can't bleed him. Yeah. So yeah, that actually might be a decent thing. I mean, I would hate to face an Ant-Man there, but if there's another place that we could put him, I mean, and I think that's what they're shooting for: get different champions on there, because Cameron mentions Dormammu, but most Mystic champions, apart from their power gain, they're not heavy defenders. If you've got 300% attack, you should be able to tear through a Mystic champion pretty well, usually, besides Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Because they're not known for their armor typically. I guess I'm missing UC, but who uses UC?
I'm still waiting to do my 5-star. Sometimes you do. I mean, he went out of favor when that bug was going for so many months, but even now, I don't find him as hard. Juggernaut's much more annoying.
Yeah. You said you found another node?
Just those other two that I went over. It was the power.
There we go. The 203. Enhanced bleeding and bloodletting.
Correct.
Yeah, and that one, I'm not sure who I would put there.
A lot of times
Deadpool X-Force.
A lot of times with those bleed ones, your opponent's going to be expecting a bleed, so it's a good opportunity if you having a hard time finding one who doesn't bleed, for a surprise node, as I like to call them. Surprise nodes, someone you put where you don't normally expect them. So if they're going in with a certain expectation, they can be caught off guard, which can result in kills.
Yep. Ant-Man prevents rogues health steal, yes. And Dorm for power gain and debilitate. And that is this one, 100%. Ah, yeah, that's a good point, Cameron, because that if you get the degen from an expiring buff, 100% longer on that degeneration from Dormammu.
Oh yeah, all the debuffs. That's right.
That would suck. Okay, so is that it?
I think so. Yeah, that's all the ones they've shown so far. I wish they would show all of them. It's not like it's going to give us a huge advantage. It's only going to be helpful.
Yeah. I wish they would have shown the buffs on these on the mini boss nodes.
Yeah, I definitely want to see those. See what we're up against.
So is this any indicator? I'm going to make this bigger here on the screen. And maybe this is just because, well, I would think that their champions are ranked up. Kabam's champions, right? The ones that they put here. And we don't know if there's tiers yet in Alliance War, but look at the PI of these bosses. 12,000.
Yeah. Because normally I'm trying to see if it shows. Yeah, because then later in the video they place the 5-star Adora boss, which then, what, 10,005? What's it ranked? Okay, none of these are ranked, it looks, except for Adora's Medusa.
Alright, so I'm going to forward to that. I'm going to have to resize again.
Yeah, I don't think many of these are ranked, or at least make 1 out of 10. Maybe that Magic's ranked up a little bit more since she's at 19 for 480 or 460.
Yeah. Let's see. Come on. Trying to drag this around my screen. So yeah, we've got her Medusa is 4198 on the PI, which is what that would be like a 235, wouldn't it?
Yep.
On a 5-star. So not terribly high, but still 4198, and then she's got her here as a boss for 10,000.
Yeah, because it doesn't have any.
Would we be able to? Would we, if that's 2.5 times the PI, would we be able to do that with a 455 as well, and say 2.5 times 8,000? So that would still be 20,000. I don't know. Well, that's unnoted.
Unnoted.
An unnoted boss at 20,000 PI. That still seems low.
Yeah, normally I know our 455 bosses would normally be around 100,000 when they were fully noted in the old school. But I do have a feeling, since they have magic on 50 and its middle's the hardest, I have a feeling that one's probably immune to debuffs. Just a hunch, since it's the hardest, center's supposed to be the hardest, and that tends to be the harder of the mini boss.
Yeah, 53, 54 probably stun immune.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're totally right, yeah.
Yeah.
And then 55, 57, maybe some type of power.
Power gain and armor and... Yeah, I mean, if Kabam was that intentional to actually put those, you know, kind of champions with their nodes, which, I mean, they're talking about archetypes, right? Maybe they did intentionally do that, but I don't know that I'd want to gamble on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't rely on it, just theory crafting.
Yeah. So, all right. You can't transport from 53 and 54 to boss, or is it a glitch? I don't see online or portal. 50... Let's see, 53 and 54. Yeah.
They move to the center, and then 56.
Yeah, let me pull this one back up. It is... this resizing the screen constantly, tell you.
I think the issue is that the noting arrows are overlapping the dotted line. Right.
So here it's no life. You would move from. So here's your 53. Let's see, 53. and 54, you wouldn't go directly from those to the boss. You move to the middle. So 50, 53, and 54 move towards the middle node here, which is then a portal, I think, or a line. I think it's a portal to 56. So yeah, you wouldn't go directly from any of those 3 mini-bosses to 56. There's one extra node between the mini-boss and the boss. That should be in tier 3 or 4. Yeah, we just don't even know if there's a tier yet, right?
Yep.
What's up, Mo Battle Chips? So, all right. Well, I think this has been healthy. I mean, it's been good to help get a handle on this. Hopefully, this has helped you guys out. I know it's helped me figure out what I'm looking at. I appreciate you walking through this with me. Wasn't planning on doing this. I was just going to get some arena done, and you guys started posting that stuff as soon as I was setting my stream up, so thought, yeah, what the heck, why not? Let's talk about the Alliance War map. So I want to give a chance to the chat to see if there's any more questions before we stop the Alliance War talk, or if you've got anything else you can think of.
I think we covered most everything until we get some more information sooner than later, hopefully. But latest Wednesday evening, once we can do matchmaking and spectate the map.
Yeah, I think one thing I've asked B Manny if we could do is hold off on placing defenders for a bit, so that we can actually interact with the map, read all the nodes, get some video, because I know I will want to do some, a video overview of it again. I'm sure Brian will want to, and probably Legacy and maybe some others. But
that's a good idea.
Yeah, we want to be able to get in there, look at the nodes, and get some content on that before placing defenders, and we don't want to give anything away, right?
Indeed.
So, seemingly tenacious. What's up, man? Haven't seen you in a long time. Glad you could jump in the stream here. Are you familiar with Pred Voluntaris?
With who?
Seemingly tenacious. I
do remember going against his alliance a couple times, and he was in BG3 against us.
Yeah, he's a content creator too. He does live streams. He's in Australia.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah, but how about those boosts that regen would help with flare? That's one thing. If you've got time, let's talk about that. I did forget that.
Sure.
And then we can wrap it up. Let's see if I can clear this off the screen and resize my game in the screen. All right, you guys can see the quest I'm working on there. But let's go to the. Well, no, I guess I can't look at all in the store. Is there one in the store now? I've got some in inventory, so I may be able to look at inventory.
They're in the video at 3 minutes 54 seconds. If you still have that around.
Yeah. Let me check my inventory first, because I may have them all. Nope, I've only got 2.
Well, which ones do you have?
I've got 2 of the advanced power boosts.
Okay.
And 1 of the combat regeneration boost.
Okay, and then the third one is a vulnerability boost, which I think right now is in the store, but it won't let us buy it yet.
Is it?
I'm not sure why. Or it was.
Because you can only buy one every so many hours. So it's combat regeneration boost right now. There's an 8-hour timer on mine. So it should reset maybe in 8 hours. And but there was a point where there wasn't any.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the schedule is for these. If it's random.
I'm not sure. It may be certain days, but we'll find out soon.
All right.
But yeah, vulnerability boost endures the first 3 hits. Boost lasts for 3 minutes. Only usable in Alliance War. I do remember from the forums that it also applies to Special 1 as being a hit. So that can be helpful, especially if you're very skilled at not getting hit.
Say that again. Special 1 is what?
Or the Special 3. In the forums, they said the Special 3 counted as 1 hit.
Okay, so if you have Colossus, which is 1 hit animation-wise, and you've got Ultron, which is like 183 hits animation-wise, uh, then both of those actually count as one hit.
Per Kabam Mike, but put an asterisk to that because Kabam Mike has been wrong in the past.
Okay. So now you can take in, old Alliance War format, I took node 19, Unblockable Special 2. And that one usually could get away with drawing out the L2, but there's been more than once. You've got a Vision there, you've got a Hyperion there, sometimes Doctor Strange, and evade once and he's at an L3. So you could use Vision Age of Ultron with this advanced power boost and start with 1 bar of power just like you would with OG Vision. So as long as you got the parry off and you could throw that first special, you're good, right?
Yep.
Or you could use the whichever one. What did you call it? The one I don't have.
The invulnerability boost.
And basically be a Luke Cage for the first, 3 hits.
Correct.
And so you go into node 19, take an L3, consider it a wash, and start over at 0 power on your opponent. Yeah.
It's definitely helpful.
Yeah. The one thing I was considering on this advanced power boost, I like to run Magic and Hawkeye on Alliance War Attack because power gain is, or power control is probably the #1 asset for Alliance War. And if I hit power gain nodes, a lot of those have the Plagued Mind effect on them. So I had a lot of trouble getting Magic to her L2 to power lock. If I'm fighting, for example, if I was fighting a Magic on node 43. So you spend a lot of time trying to bait out a special. You don't want to just keep pushing her up and up and up because you've got to get to your L2 before she gets to her L3. And so I found a lot of times I would lose my power before I got to an L2 with Magic. And so Hawkeye ended up being more valuable for me there because I just had to get to the L1, and that's doable within the 20 seconds. But now with this advanced power gain or whatever it's called, advanced power boost, Magic starting at 1 bar of power, she'll be able to get to her L2 quicker than Hawkeye would be able to get to an L1 if you run a Mystic Dispersion theoretically. So all of a sudden she's now taken that place because once you get to the L2 it's pretty easy to keep her there because you've got the power steal as well.
Definitely. They're a little expensive though. 10,000 loyalty. Like I haven't bought any just because I'm saving.
Yeah, I've never really had an itch to get Unstoppable Colossus, so I've got loyalty to burn. So yeah. I'm going to grab a couple of each. I may not. I don't think I'll grab them all the time. That's a very quick way to burn through loyalty, but I'm going to grab a few of each and just see how they do.
Definitely.
And then can give some feedback on them. But
then
little pricey, but I can see where they're going to be valuable.
Then the third one, combat regeneration boost. Generate 15% of max health over 25 seconds at the beginning of the fight. Lasts for 3 minutes. So similar to Dr. Voodoo, but it is not enhanced by the regeneration mastery. So
the recovery?
Recovery, that's it. Thank you for the correction.
It is not enhanced by recovery.
Correct. That was from the forums when they went over it.
Well, that stinks. So it's not all sources of regeneration. It's amazing how Kabam always finds a way to get around the absolute statements that they make.
Yeah.
So recovery, 15% extra health from all, or whatever it is, percentage from all sources of regeneration, except this one,
Yeah.
Or Mordo's ability accuracy cannot be reduced. Except by Archangel, So they have a habit of countering their absolute statements. Cameron says he feels like we're going to see Power Start 3 node.
It's possible. It will be frustrating, but definitely possible.
Yeah. Riley Lopez, Hawkeye could have his Power 1. Yeah, he would. That's right. Power Start 3 node with maybe Thor on it. You resist
Ouch.
the SP3, then you're stunned.
Yeah.
Well, you resist the SP3 on the first 2 hits of the stun, but that still leaves you with, 2 or 3 hits left, depending on what the AI does. But yeah, that would be a low blow. One more question about these boosts. They have a 3-minute, let's see, combat regeneration boost lasts for 3 minutes. Advanced power boost lasts for 3 minutes. I'm assuming that the other one lasts for 3 minutes.
Yes.
Fights last 3 minutes if you run the full time. So does this mean the boosts are good only for one fight? Or are they good for as many fights as you can squeeze in 3 minutes?
I'm hoping the latter, but I have not seen a definitive answer to that. There may be one by Command Mike, but I didn't come across it. But I'm really hoping it's the latter, so you can push through a bunch of fights.
Yeah. I hope so too, but yeah, because one fight for 10,000 loyalty, I mean, it's already expensive if you could get 3 fights in, which would be pushing it in 3 minutes. But one fight would, I'm not sure that would be worth it, because as much as I'm talking about the old 19 Node 19 and Power Start 1 and the first 3 hit invulnerability, whatever that's called. I mean, that makes a whole lot of other champions viable there. But
Sure.
if you have Daredevil or OG Vision, you don't need those boosts.
Yep, OG Vision, baby.
Yeah, so I don't have OG Vision. I always use Daredevil there, which he usually does. He usually does pretty well, unless there's your Dormammu there, and then I just take degen the whole fight. But
Yeah. Yeah, he's hit or miss there. I mean, we've tried him there a couple times. Did good one war, didn't other wars, so...
yeah.
For me, though, personally, with these boosts, if I was ever going to use them, it'd be on a boss. I normally use any big special boosts for boss, whereas the rest of the war, I only use the 30-unit attack and 30-unit health. Always, for every run.
Okay. Yeah, which is smart because that's less than 1 level 4 energy or health refill.
Exactly. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Cameron says he's going to be exploiting the regen boost.
Yep.
How are you going to exploit that?
How he exploits that, and it's something even old alliances do. If you have an Iron Man, or if you have a Ultron, let's say the fight is going bad or whatever, you force quit, you lose a certain amount of health. However, if it's right around the amount to regen, you may need to pop like a very small health pot, but when you start the fight, you can then regen again. The only possible negatives with this are Assassin. If the defender has Assassin, that could mess it up, but then you could just try again. But with Ultron, you could do similarly around the 50%, if it went wrong.
Okay.
But it's just about force closing, opening it back up, make sure the health is right around the place where they would regen, so you're able to regen at the start of the fight. But it's been around forever. Normally, the reason it wasn't done a ton is because force quitting would add a defender kill for defender kill points.
Right.
Whereas the defender kill points being removed, it now opens the gates to be able to use that strategy without consequence.
Right. Right. So when Joel Line says use your awakening gem on Iron Man, all of a sudden he sounds like a really smart guy for saying that, right?
Indeed. I don't think I would go so far, just because there still can be the pitfalls through Assassin, reducing the ability accuracy. But I don't know, we'll see.
But Ultron.
Yeah.
I mean,
at 25%.
Assassin's not going to affect 25% or 50%.
Correct.
And so, yeah, you could do that. Yeah, I might be moving my Ultron from Alliance Quest over to Alliance War.
It's possible.
So they've got to. That makes me think that they've got to know about it. I mean, they know that has been an exploit in the past. That's why they implemented for the short time the failed fight recovery or crash recovery system. Yeah, no defender kills means restart as many times as you like. Regen up to 75% health with Ultron. Force quit again. Use a small potion if you need to put them above, right at that 25% mark and go back in again. You could theoretically do that in an infinite number of times.
Yep. And it has been brought up on the forums, but for whatever reason, Kabam has not specifically responded to that question.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah, probably. I wonder if it's because they're like, oh crap, we didn't think about
that. Probably.
Cameron, if I just use a small revive, I can squeeze in 5 times 20 seconds with 1 regen boost. We'll be able to recover 15% on 2 of my champs, 22% on 1 champ.
That's right. The other way of taking advantage of it, using that
so explain that
boost
to me. I'm not quite following him on that.
Okay, what's happening is that you use that 3-minute regen boost at the start of your fight. So if you have some champs that are low health, you then can go into the fight, regen a certain amount, but then you can quit again and then regen, and it slowly, incrementally gets your health back up using the 3 minutes of that regen boost. Cameron did the math, and it looks like it can work. It would just take quite a few force quitting and restarting the fight again and making sure not to get hit while you're regenning. But that's the overall idea.
So say you're doing poorly, you force quit, you lose 50% of your health, and all of a sudden now you're at 10%. So you go back in with the regeneration, you gain 15%, you're at 25%. You force quit, and now you're at 12.5. You go back in and you gain 15%, so you're at 27.5. Force quit and half of that. Is that what you're saying?
Is that what you're saying, Cameron? Because Cameron did some type of math, but I'm not sure how worth it would be, or if you and I just aren't fully getting how he plans to try to use it. Because that's what I thought, but like you're doing the math out, it'd be very small increments if you're doing it that route.
Yeah, it would be...
Depends on how much that regen...
It wouldn't be 7.5%. I mean, you wouldn't be gaining 7.5%, right? I mean, because you would be... I mean, you're not losing half of the 15%. You're losing half of the total percentage that you have after 15%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure if that would be worth it or not. Cameron would have to break it down a bit more again.
So if that's correct, that's more like 2.5%, I think.
Yeah. It's regenerate 15% of the max health. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not a mathematician, so I could be completely off on that.
It may be a way to do it, but those are the two things: the Iron Man's Ultron and combat regeneration boost opens an opportunity to use the no defender kill points to game the force quit system to get health back.
Yeah, yeah. MB says more heal block nodes, which I could see that coming too.
Mm-hmm.
To counter the boosts that they offer and the exploits, just add direct counters to the boosts. You know, like power lock node. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Your attacker does not gain power. You know how often you have to use a villain champion to gain power on against this node. I mean, we're going to see more 5.1, 5.2 type nodes in Alliance War. I'm certain of it. You know, we've already seen Flare, right? So we're going to see more stuff like that. You're going to have to use a villain. You're going to have to, you know, you're not going to be able to gain more than 2 bars of power. You know, things like that. So, Cameron, not necessarily when you're doing poorly, you gain 35 HP from 1 level revive. Nothing for a 455 champ. So with the regen boost, you go from basically no health to 7.5 and then to 15.
Okay.
Okay, so if you get 35 HP, you go in, you stay away, you manage to evade or avoid your opponent for 25 seconds to get to 15% health. You're at 15% health plus 35. Then you force quit, and then you're at 7.5% health.
Mm-hmm. So then get up to 22% if you're just doing it for the 1 champ within the 3 minutes. 2 champs, you can get to 15%.
Right.
Coming from a level 1 team revive that puts you at next to nothing. So I see what he's saying, man.
Right, but you'd have to force quit that champ if you wanted to do it multiple champs. You'd have to force quit again when you're at 20, whatever that was, 22.5, which would take you back down to 11%.
Yeah. True.
So, yeah, I mean, so you're still not gaining 15% every time you're. I mean, you're not even gaining 7.5. You're not gaining half half of that 15%, unless my math is completely off, you're not gaining half of that 15% every time you force quit. You're only gaining about 2.5%. Or whatever the number is. What do you think will be a good cutoff for 24 to 45 in Black Panther Arena? 26 to 45. No idea. 900,000, Voluntaris says. Good.
That's what I did last run, and I got 26 to 45.
Yeah, I have not kept track of that stuff at all as far as lesser brackets. So anyway, all right. Well, we're going on 2 hours, man. Thanks for jumping in here just off the cuff.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you jumping in and helping me talk about this. It definitely helps having someone to converse with rather than just trying to talk to myself and a screen chat over this stuff. So this has helped out a lot. I'm going to go ahead and download the Boss Kill Express that I'll just post it on Twitter, and then
Sweet.
I can share that in the Alliance if people are interested in that. And hopefully it helps out. And then Wednesday, when that goes live, I'm actually going to be traveling Wednesday, so I won't be able to live stream anything, but I'll try to get some at least screenshots in and work on some content for that on Thursday. For all of you who are here, thank you for jumping in and watching. I know the title of this live stream says Arena Grind, but that was, I mean, absolutely last second change of plans when this map dropped. So I will not be live streaming tonight. I may, if I can get things working, if the internet is good enough, I may be live streaming tomorrow night from Orlando. Otherwise, it'll be Thursday night before I can get back on. So once again, thanks for hanging out, guys. Thank you, Voluntaris, for joining me. You guys have a great afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your Labor Day. And until next time, this is Gran Kahonu smoking it down. Anthony Amendola, Twitter is on the bottom of the screen there, at Gran_scheme. So, all right. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you later.